Oh, it's nothing but work, work, work all the time. So I spent the day, and I do this for people on YouTube. But I spent the day looking at the atheism idea, the atheism debate, basically watching Ravi Zacharias. And Ravi, R-A-V-I, or Zacharias, if you look him up, he's an excellent philosopher, apologetist for Christianity. But mainly he had debated some major people on evolution, and and he's very well-rounded, educated man, Ravi Zacharias. Pays to listen to him. But anyway, I was listening to Ravi on basically on a concept that I saw today. Somebody who was an atheist, when they had heart palpitations, prayed, which goes against themselves, caught themselves. I shouldn't be doing that, right? But basically, the idea is, well, then did Christianity come around as a crutch? Well, as far as I'm concerned, my Christianity did not come as bugs fly in my ear. My Christianity didn't come as a result of me having a crutch. My Christianity came about as a result of me asking a question: is there God? Isn't there? And I found, and I became born again. I had a born again experience when I read the Bible that said the stone the builders rejected. It had nothing to do with it being a crutch for me. But be that as it may, without God, you are nothing. If you're an atheist, without God, you are nothing. This is what nihilism is. And this is the problem Nietzsche had. Trying to find some sort of meaning to this short, futile life that's going to come to an end. And when it comes to an end, what hope does an atheist have? Zero. Zippo. Because their life ends and it's over. And so the life that they live here has to have some sort of meaning. And they want to hold on to it as long as they can because it's the only one they got. So if you say, well, Christianity is just an idea of an hope. Well, I'd rather have a hope than not have a hope. Right? So I was watching Ravi's video. If you watch Ravi, he does a lot of it would be just pay to listen to his philosophical views. He's spoken on many topics, but especially on atheism, Darwinism. He's debated Dawkins. He's debated these people. Anyway, so then after that, because I'm obsessive, I went into all the videos that I had watched that really solidified for me why atheism is basically a cultish lie. And I'm saying that because they're militant now. It's not a matter of not believing God. And nobody and them saying that, oh, you don't understand, we just don't have a belief in that there is a God. No. Atheism is not a belief. Atheism is not the belief that there might not be a God, or there's no proof that there's a God. Atheism goes a step further and denies that there's a God. There's plenty of people out there that don't know whether there's a God. That's not atheism, that's agnosticism. Agnosticism. That's what that is. So atheists are pushing, and we see them doing this. Come on. They're buying up we just saw in California, they bought up all these plots where manger scenes were going up, right? And put in their atheist, propaganda, proselytizing people. And the funny thing is that they feel like, well, they're oppressing, religion is oppressing us. Are you joking me? Look, I don't care if you're an atheist. I'm not pushing my religion on you. You're not persecuted in this country for being an atheist. It's ridiculous. You're free to have any religion you want, and nobody cares. Nobody's whipping you, telling you, except for born-again Christians, they might be a little pushy, yes, but nobody's forcing religion on you. Nobody's making a state religion and saying, if you were in a Muslim country, you would have to get up and pray or you'd get beat. So what is your reason for proselytizing people? What is it? Because in Christianity is to save souls. We were commanded by God to do so. Okay? But in atheism, who commanded you to go forth and proselytize people to the church of atheism? Nobody. Okay? You know, and what's the difference, by the way, if you change the earth to atheism? You're only going to die anyway. If the whole world doesn't have a point, what does it matter if people are religious or not? It's crazy, isn't it? So what I was watching, all of the hoaxes that Darwinism has been doing. You know, atheism, you know, they're some people don't believe in Darwinian evolution that are atheists. I get that, but mostly Darwinism is what's pushed. So what's the basis of this? Well, Darwin and his cousin Galen were both racist. This is where eugenics came from. Nietzsche. Talk about nihilism, and this is the thing that this person had. Nietzsche, you know, he was crazy, he was nuts, because why? He had no purpose to his life. You know, he went mad, you know. Is that what you want? Atheists and drive you mad? So the whole world is just a random madness, you know. Basically, what nihilism is that there's no point. And if you have no point, you know, then what's the reason for anything? There is none, right? So, but anyway, so I'm watching this push. Hitler had read Nietzsche. He did. He read Nietzsche. Although you might say he was Catholic, he wasn't religious. He wasn't Catholic. He used the Catholic Church. If anything, Hitler was an occultist that believed in the super race of the Vikings. All right, these Viking gods. There was the occult was going right along with the atheism that was being pushed. You know, you might say, well, the state religion was this, that, the other thing, but the truth is that Hitler was influenced by Nietzsche, and so was Lenin, Stalin. All the deaths that came about in the Soviet Union were all due to this idea. And the Soviet Union, by the way, and communism had its propagandists from the beginning, pushing their propaganda, and part of that propaganda was atheism. It is. If you went to the Soviet Union, you would be laughed at if you believed that there was a God. And Darwinian evolution was shoved down your throat. So Darwinian evolution became the religious belief, or at least the belief that was shoved down your throat. So you do not have the freedom to think for yourself. You had to be an atheist or you were persecuted in the Soviet Union. But mainly, those ideas are still being pushed today by militant atheists today. And what is happening now is no different than what was happening then. It's always been propaganda. Well, you can't say that. We have new science, even if they had, you know, even if there were some hoaxes. Hoaxes? It's nothing but hoaxes. We started off with Piltdown Man. Did you ever look at the history of that? Oh, yeah, England was fooled for years, right? Until somebody looked at it and said, wait a minute. Somebody had doctored this monkey head and put a jawbone of a human and some teeth in there, and that was the missing link for years. Nebraska, man, I was just watching a whole thing on this. The peppered moth. Why did they do this? Why did they have to doctor the truth of evolution? And they're still doing it today. Still the Haeckel's drawings are still being put in textbooks today. Not because they haven't been proven wrong, but because they want the minds of the children. And so now you talk about atheism, you know, getting all angry that they're supposedly Christians or religion is oppressing them. Yet they're making us follow their lies, their peppered moth, their Piltdown Man, the Aborigines that were put in the Smithsonian and this goes back before Hitler. This kind of stuff was happening in 1905 in Africa. They were killing. There was genocide going on in the idea that evolution had been circumvented. This was Hitler, and before him, that evolution had been circumvented because of man's compassion, which, by the way, is his strength. But because we've been kind to the other races, we haven't eliminated them, and so natural selection hasn't given its what it needs to create the super race that they need to create. And since natural selection isn't happening, we have to make it happen by getting rid of the inferior races. Now this is the history. Okay, and we already had, right up in California, we had prisoners being given injections to make them sterile, women, because supposedly their genetic code is bad. So we want to make a pedigree code to make a better people. So it's all about the seed of man exalting himself to God. Same lie since the garden. Okay? And so, you think that you can purge out all the evil of man to make the super race. Take a look at England. Did you ever see the blue bloods out there? I hate to pick on you UKers, okay? But you know, there were some pretty bad mutations that happened because they interbreeded. Oh yeah, interbreeding. Yeah, that really helped to kind of keep the pedigree. You know, what I'm getting at though is that you can't purge out and make man a perfect man by starting to eliminate some and breeding us like dogs. That's, first of all, it's Frankenstein evil. Second of all, you'll never purge out the sinful nature of man. How do you? And there's no moral relativism. There's nothing but morality is relative. So in one culture, we make up our own law. Okay, so there's other cultures that made up their own law, including female circumcision out in the Islam world, and in eating their own kind. Okay, cannibals. So what makes them eating other tribes? What makes them wrong? There's no difference between wrong and right because that's what society did. See, there's no compass as to what your morality is. Yes, you could be a good person as far as what do you judge a good person on. There's a lot of philosophical questions, but the main thing I want to focus on is that atheism has been propping up this lie of evolution hoaxes over and over again. So what's to say that they're not making up these hoaxes now? They're still pushing it harder than ever. So why should I believe when you come up with all these new sciences, newfangled things, when you've been lying over and over and over and over again? Oh, well, we have new evidence. You had new evidence upon new evidence over year over year over year. It's still the same people or the same mindset that's pushing evolution to be accepted and ramming it down everybody's throat. That's ostracizing any scientist that comes up with an opposing position. And we know this happens. Everybody knows that anybody who comes up and says something against atheists, you militant atheists, are ready to stamp them under your feet. So don't lie to me. Don't try to pull the wool over my eyes or other people's eyes that are watching. Don't try to hide it. You're basically suppressing the truth. Just like America. You see America the book now, right? Costco, Google, right? Trying to suppress the truth. This is what atheists do. It's called censorship. It's like burning books. So if there was a different idea other than evolution that could explain the origins of life, even if it wasn't Christian, you wouldn't put up with it anyway. We've seen that. So it's not a matter of who's right or wrong. It's a matter of who's been lying and intolerance. Take care.